Yo, this is my FOH pally, fully geared out. The last video I did was a really budget one, so now we've got skillers across the bottom, all lifers, a nice torch, a nice Annie. We've got all res charms across the top, all with MF. I would probably go with FHR, but most of this build was donated to me by Indestructible. One of my friends, you can find him on Twitch, twitch.tv/IDKTXL. So, let's look at the rest of my gear. We've got Mage Fist, slam with extra cast rate. We have a 4-socketed hobble filled with faucets. We've got a Harlequin Crest Shaco, slammed with an extra all skills. A Maris, 28 all res, slammed with an extra all skills. 2-socketed Q Higgins, also with 2 faucets. A 3-socketed HOZ, also with 3 faucets. I tested this out with a Spirit on the cheap build, and a shitty HOZ on the cheap build, and the HOZ just makes your survivability so much better. War Travelers, mostly for the MF, but it has some other useful things. We've got 2 SOJs, one is CBF, which is GG. Arachnid's Mesh with extra cast rate. So there's one thing I would note with the gear here is that a lot of the maps have minus 20 cast rate once you corrupt them now. So you want to overcap by 20, I think. I'm overcapped just a little bit, so I could use 6 more cast rate to be at 95, so that the minus 20 keeps me at 75 FCR. Now onto my swap. I've got a 6BO CTA and a lidless. And my Merc's gear. My Merc is basically indestructible. He's got a Last Wish and an Ethereal Berserker Axe. Dracul's Grasp, they're actually clean. 3-socketed Crown of Ages, Vex Burr Burr. Material's Might with 2 1540s. Nosferatu's just with some extra strength. And Gores with extra all res. I have completed solo Ubers with this, and I ran a few maps. Some of the new ones, and some of the ones we already know. So let's look at some other stats. Just gonna go to River of Flame. Okay, we're just gonna go to the River of Flame. We're at 14k unbuffed. And we are at 15k, 7 to 15k buffed. Our res is pretty good. So let me show you how much this mercenary absolutely destroys. It's crazy, man. So he stays alive through Mephisto and Bale when I'm doing Ubers, and he dies halfway through Diablo. You can also set this build up with Enigma and have some teleport. This is how I like to play it, but you could also go more defensive. But I went obviously for damage and minus 2 resistances. So how do you play this? We'll move on to the skill tree. So here's what I would normally do. Okay, we'll move on to the skill tree. So 1 point in Smite, 1 point in each skill coming down to Holy Shield. I actually only put 1 point in Holy Shield, and I still managed to get max block through Dexterity. HOZ helps with that too. And then you max out Holy Bolt, Holy Light, 1 point in Hammers, and then max out Fist of Heavens, and max out Holy Nova. Now when I'm doing the Ubers, I actually have Holy Nova on a keybind. If he gets low on health, I'll use it, and it actually brings him all the way back up. And that's how he survives along with Last Wish. But the Last Wish enough I noticed isn't quite enough. You'll see here I'm running Redemption and Conviction. So I put 1 point into Redemption, and I put, let's see. Yeah, I put a couple points into Conviction, probably 9. So I'm normally running Conviction. I always put 1 point into Vigor as well. I don't personally like charging or jousting, but it's effective. Tons of damage. And you'll see in the map runs that he breaks even the boss's lightning immunes. Like basically one-shots some of these things. So yeah, let's move on to the maps, which were all heroic and corrupted. And you'll notice in the mini Ubers that he does a lot of damage, but it would be better paired with an actual Zealer instead of my Merc. And I think you can blow through the mini Ubers in a minute and a half or 2 minutes that way. Alright, let's check out everything else. So I ran the new map, the Fall of Caldeum. It had minus 20 to cast rate, so I was definitely debuffed here pretty hard, and it still went pretty well. The only thing is I didn't know the pathway for the fastest clear rate, but I think it took under 10 minutes, maybe 7 or 8. I didn't put a timer on it, but I think it was somewhere around there. And you'll notice the way I play is, instead of having to use potions like crazy, I'm just using Redemption and then switching back to Conviction to kill stuff. And it's breaking the immunity of all the monsters in here, all the unique bosses and the elite packs and just everything. The damage was a little slow on the boss, but it's actually crazy how fast it is on mini Ubers. And I think it has something to do with the Conviction aura, but I really like that it's efficient for mini Ubers. I really think the Bolter is good for people who are like me, who are a little bit of a lazy player and doesn't want to have to pick up potions and run around for them. You don't really have to run Redemption, but you see my health went low there. It's super helpful. I mean, it just makes the game easy mode. So it's good for beginners, it's good for lazy people like me. And I just like running this kind of caster. I did a Bolter for like all of Season 2, and then switched him to a Zealer, but I think I'm going to go with FOH, because in my last video, I saw that I could do it with really, like no gear almost, and a really shitty merc. And you don't have to use an Act 5 merc, I just like playing this way. You could definitely use an Insight on an Act 5 merc, or an Insight on an Act 3 merc. A Last Wish on an Act 5 merc is a little overkill. But yeah, I'm going to shut up and let you guys check out the play.